Okay, so let me proceed ahead quickly for the error handling topic. I will give a demo later in the next class, but not in this one. But we have been encountering errors, and every time I encounter an error, our program crashes. Okay, our program breaks when we enter some wrong input, for example. So look at this code here. I tried to create an example based on your mini projects that we carry out. So instead of taking as an input income, I just specified it here. And here I'm taking an expense as an input and performing some mathematical calculation and displaying the balance as an output. So let's say when I run this code, it prompts me a message, enter input expense. According to this instruction, I specify 21. So what do you think will be an output of this program? Simple. Do you need a calculator for that? 1213? Really? You don't get a clue what topic we are discussing on actually? Yep.
Well, it's not reading 1, 2, 3 as an integer, right?
So 1, 2, 3, 4 is an integer value. But what it is taking as an input from a user and not converting it into a numerical type. So whatever we take as an input from a user, it is always in the form of a string. Okay? So expense is currently a string. And we are trying to subtract a string from an integer value. So is it allowed?
No.
It's not allowed. You cannot perform a subtraction operation between an integer and a string. So that's why it will throw off an error, type error, unsupported operand. So minus operand is not supported between integer and a string. Okay, so this is one example of an error, and your program will crash. And if you are distributing your application, the user, non-technical user, may not be able to comprehend this. Let's take another example. Let's say we figured out our problem and we fixed it by transforming the input into a float. Okay, and then this is what we have been doing. This is how we have been doing. Let's say we run the program again and we specify this input. Now what do you think? What kind of output you will get? So that is the code. Here I'm running it. Yep. So before even subtraction, what will happen here? So I'm yeah, it's not a number, which means that I specified a string. It cannot be converted into a floating point value. Okay, so it could not convert a string to a float value. If I would have specified 12.3 or 12 or something like that, then it would easily convert it into float. Yes.
So would we need to know the specific errors for the test?
If you need to display different messages, specific messages, then you need to know a specific type of errors. Otherwise, you can also deal it differently. So we do not want our program to break with clueless errors for our users, non-technical users. So I asked PyPal. I would have actually asked you to do it, but we do not have enough time. So I asked, how can I avoid breaking my code with errors and display a meaningful message for users to provide correct input? I'll be providing this slide today, so do not need to worry about. So it actually gives me a couple of options. All of them actually revolved around this try except block. Okay, so where you are expecting an error, so suppose that you are taking an input and you expect that user might end up providing wrong input. So you enclose that part of code in try block. Okay, and if there is any error raised in this instruction, it will not throw off that error, the technical jargon. It will not throw off, rather it will throw off what you specify here. So invalid input, please enter a valid number, rather than that message which is completely technical for non-technical users. Okay, so I will repeat the same thing again in the next class, but I just wanted to demonstrate that this was the example. We still have a minute. Please hold on. Don't make noise. So this was the original code, and I can wrap it around under try block. And when I run this, I specify the wrong input. Rather than throwing off the error that I saw here earlier, it will tell me wrong input. Please try again and enter numbers only. And I need to keep taking input repeatedly. And how we can do that, you should know, because you are going to do that in your project number 9. Okay, so we need to keep taking input until the user specify the correct input. Okay, so we will continue in the next class. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can come over, and see you in the next class.